Welcome back to another video then, and after an absolute shambolic transfer window for Manchester United, the pressure in the press and all the papers seems to be mounting on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to turn things around at Old Trafford. Now, the transfer market was not really all Solskjaer's fault for Manchester United. I put a lot of the blame down to Ed Woodward and the Glazers. It was an absolute bullshit transfer window where Manchester United pretty much didn't get hardly any of the signings that they wanted and in the positions that they really wanted to strengthen in, certainly. And Manchester United now go into a full season with a squad that isn't complete and ready to challenge and mount a better challenge on closing the gap between Liverpool and Man City. Now, results have been very poor for Manchester United at the start of the season, and the performances have been even worse to match that. We've lost our opening two home Premier League games, and we've scraped a victory in the away game, which was an absolute abysmal performance. All three performances have been absolutely abysmal, and Solskjaer's tactics and play on the pitch and substitutions and everything that goes along with it have come under real scrutiny this week. And Manchester United have been heavily linked again with Pochettino, formerly at Tottenham Hotspur. Now, the papers are saying that Manchester United and probably Ed Woodward have had contact with Pochettino about taking over at Old Trafford. Now, this is a man that I know Manchester United have been tracking, and obviously the performances were very good when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer first come into Manchester United, which managed to clinch the job for him full time when he was caretaker boss after Jose Mourinho got the sack initially. Now, I'm not too sure. Obviously then Solskjaer got the job due to the fact that he went on an amazing run. Then it went a bit downhill from there, and the start of last season was abysmal, and then it picked up the second part of last season and we went on a fantastic run and managed to get into the top three. Now, this season has obviously started poorly. We haven't got the recruitment in that we needed to take us to that next level, but the performances have been so poor on the pitch that these players should definitely be doing a lot better. Solskjaer should definitely be getting a lot better out of these players, and that is where the question marks come over Manchester United now wanting to get the man that they wanted before in Pochettino. Now, I'm not totally convinced that if Mauricio Pochettino comes into Manchester United, he is going to be the man to turn this around. Now, I've been looking at his stats, and he's got I think it's about a 54 win percent ratio at Tottenham, and he did get to one Champions League final in his time at Tottenham. He was consistently finishing in the top four for most of the time he was there, and did play Tottenham did play very nice football. They were competitive in a lot of the games that they played in, and I mean, he did improve Tottenham Hotspur. That is a definite. He improved Southampton as well when he was there, but it did go sour towards the end of his time at Tottenham Hotspur, and he eventually, probably rightly so, got the sack there, and Jose Mourinho come in last season. Now, obviously, as I say, this has been a man that Manchester United have been tracking for a while to take over the hot seat when he left his job at Tottenham. And whereas I think that Manchester United, if they do decide, I personally think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has probably got around the next 3 or 4 games in order to save his job. Now, we've got some very difficult games coming up on the horizon for Manchester United after a game away at Newcastle. Newcastle is a winnable game for Manchester United, and the pressure will really mount if Solskjaer cannot claim victory in that game. So far this season, I've watched Newcastle, and where they did get a draw in that game previously, which I saw against Tottenham, so far they have looked absolutely awful to me, and were well beaten against Brighton only a few weeks ago when I saw them play, and they looked absolutely toothless up front against Brighton and against Tottenham. So if Manchester United cannot get a positive result in that game, it will really put the pressure on Solskjaer to be dismissed as Manchester United manager. But personally, after that, we've got games coming up against PSG. I know we've got games against Everton, Arsenal, Chelsea, all on the horizon after this international break. And this is going to be a make or break period for Solskjaer. If he has some positive results in them games, then it could bide him some time to get to January and maybe build a bit of momentum. Last season, Manchester United had games coming up against the likes of Tottenham and Manchester City or was it? And I think Chelsea were around the period of time. Manchester United went away to Chelsea and managed to win 2-0, and it really sort of built the momentum. I mean, Manchester United, it seemed it was make or break around them sort of games last season for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I thought he was going to lose his job after Manchester United got horrendously beaten at home to Burnley in the Premier League 2-0. I thought his job was really on the line then, but some positive results in some big games against Spurs and Chelsea and Man City towards the end of the second part of last season really turned it around for Solskjaer, and he managed to hold on to his job and steer Manchester United into the top 3, but it did help with Leicester City collapsing towards the second half of the season. But Manchester United did play some nice football towards the second part of last season, so this is really going to be make or break time for Solskjaer. And at this moment in time, I personally don't want Manchester United to become this club, a mercenary club like Chelsea have become, where a few bad results and they fucking sap the cunt in 3 or 4 games and they sap the cunt. I don't want Manchester United to be like that. Chelsea have sacked pretty much every manager they've had. They've had success under pretty much every manager they've had, and a lot of that isn't down to the fact, obviously a lot of the time Chelsea have hired world-class managers. Yes, we do understand that. They've hired some of the best managers out there, the likes of Jose Mourinho, Carlo Ancelotti, etc. But they've also had some managers that haven't always been at the top end of the scale, but nearly all the time, up to the last couple of years, Chelsea have been very competitive at the top of the Premier League and have been winning multiple pieces of silverware in the Roman Abramovich era. And a lot of that has been down to Chelsea's massive, really good transfer markets and recruitment every summer. They seem to near enough get it right every time. And if you look at Chelsea's signings, very rarely do they get many players come into Chelsea that are massive flops like Manchester United have made. The recruitment is so much better. They get the deals done early. They know exactly who they want, and that is a massive part that Manchester United have failed in over the last few years, which has ultimately resulted in managers getting fired from Manchester United. You look at some of the signs that Manchester United have made, the likes of Harry Maguire for £80 million. We've brought in the likes of Radamel Falcao, who were absolute massive flops on big wages, past their prime. We've brought in the likes of Morgan Schleidlin, who have been terrible, Schweinsteiger, who was past his best. The list goes on of poor signings that Manchester United have made. That is due to the recruitment team. What are the scouting doing? I mean, Jesus Christ, what are the club doing? Where are the football people in and around Manchester United? And this, I believe, is a massive part of it, because we can sack Solskjaer. Yes, I don't believe that Solskjaer is the man long term to bring Manchester United doubles and possibly trebles. I mean, multiple trophies again. I don't believe that, but Solskjaer has steered Manchester United in the right direction. I do believe he's brought in a lot of younger players. The likes of Aaron Wan-Bissaka has come to Manchester United. The likes of Bruno Fernandes, who's only around 24, 25. Even the likes of Donny van der Beek, he's only 23. He tried to get the age of the team massively down, which is a massive plus for Manchester United. The likes of Mason Greenwood have been promoted to the first team. Old players, the likes of Alexis Sanchez have been passed on. The likes of Mario Fellaini have gone, and the culture and the team has evolved definitely. And I believe that this is turning into a better squad than it was when Jose Mourinho was there. My only downfall, obviously, last season was it did finish bullshit, and Manchester United couldn't even win the Europa League, which I believe Jose Mourinho won it with a worse squad than Manchester United did last season. And that is my massive concern over Solskjaer. Can he get Manchester United over a final hurdle and win Manchester United a trophy? And I'm not sure if he is the man to do that. I've not been convinced, but as I say, I just didn't want to become the club that would end up hiring and firing any fucker that we sign as manager, because we've had Louis van Gaal, who's one of the top managers in Europe. We've had Jose Mourinho, who was one of the best managers of all time, and both of them have ended up getting fired. They've won trophies. Jose Mourinho won 2 trophies and still got fired because he didn't get backed fully by the board in order to buy the players that he wanted to come into Manchester United. The likes of Dolo, maybe he was the signing that Jose Mourinho wanted, but was Fred really the signing that he really wanted? 2 backup players when we needed a centre half that summer, and it just wasn't good enough. Louis van Gaal, after getting the sack, come out and said that Manchester United didn't sign the players he wanted, and they signed players that he just didn't want into Manchester United, which was worrying because a lot of Van Gaal's signings weren't good enough. and that was a worry. So if we do get Pochettino to come to Manchester United, I'm still not convinced. He's still yet to win me over, because he hasn't yet won a trophy at Spurs. He didn't win a trophy at Spurs. Obviously it was harder for him to win a trophy at Southampton because of the financial clout of the top team, so I'll give him some leeway obviously there. But at Tottenham he had for me a very decent team there, and he still failed to challenge for the title, or for challenging much for honours. He did get to a Champions League final, maybe a bit fortunate, but still did get to it. So there is a bit of positivity in me that he does improve teams. So it could be that Manchester United, I do believe that Manchester United probably will go in and get Pochettino if things do continue to go sour for Solskjaer. But I personally don't know if it will change that much this season. I mean, there is still very much question marks over this squad, and if you look at managers when they get the sack and a new manager comes in, you may initially get a little bit of a bounce, and results may improve slightly, but in the long run, the results aren't going to improve massively until you change players, bring in better players. He is not going to come into Manchester United and change Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw is what he is. He's been bullshit for the last few years. Doesn't stop eating the cake, so things aren't gonna change. He's just not good enough for me for Manchester United. The same in other areas of the team. I'm still not hell convinced on Anthony Martial starting at number 9. Sometimes he looks like Thierry Henry in his prime, and then 4 or 5 games time he's playing 6 games where he looks like fucking Oberton, and it's not good enough for Manchester United. And we need someone up front who's going to be consistent 9 times out of 10, and I still have yet to be convinced that Anthony Martial is going to be that guy. And even if you bring in Mauricio Pochettino, these things are not going to change. These players are not going to change what they've been doing. They've been doing the same thing. Luke Shaw's been poor under 2 previous managers. He had a little bit of a spell when he first come to Manchester United, and before he broke his leg under Louis van Gaal. But after that leg break, when he come back, he's been poor. He's been poor for Mourinho, he's been poor for Solskjaer, and he will be poor for Pochettino. These things aren't going to change. These players are what they are, and a manager isn't going to change that. A manager can get better out of the squad, play a different style of play, better tactics in order to get better results. But initially, if you haven't got a good enough squad to win the Premier League, you're not going to win the Premier League. The manager is only going to make so much difference, and it is a small percentage what the manager is going to make to this Manchester United squad. We will not get Pochettino in and go on and win the Premier League. I know some people think that we will be challenging for it, and it could take another couple of years to do it. And if we get another manager, he's going to want different ideas, want different players to come into Manchester United. I'm going to have to go through that whole cycle again. We've had to do that whole cycle with Louis van Gaal. Players that Louis van Gaal brought into Manchester United, the likes of Daley Blind, had to get Mourinho got rid of because he didn't like. Then the same with Solskjaer. Solskjaer coming to Manchester United, didn't like the likes of Lukaku, Fellaini, Ashley Young. All these players ended up, Alexis Sanchez ended up having to get binned off. New players had to come in. Now there's going to be a new philosophy if Pochettino comes in. It's going to be that whole cycle again. And I didn't want to become this club where Manchester United hired and fired fuckers every 5 minutes, but it does look like it's the way. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I do believe that Pochettino will be the next Manchester United manager, and if results don't improve over the next 3 or 4 weeks, I think it could be curtains for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as Manchester United manager. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching it on YouTube. All Things Man United, head over there if you're watching this on Facebook, and do hit the share button if you are watching it on Facebook. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you all again soon. See ya.